Hi there, and welcome to the IBAC Tech Trek podcast, where we explore the outer reaches of insurance technology. I'm your science officer on this journey, Tom Reid, and today I'm joined by Mislav Majic, Chief Revenue Officer of SimplePin. Hey, Mislav, how's it going?
Hi, Tom. Great. Thank you very much for having me on the show.
Oh, thank you for joining us. And before we get into what SimplePin does and how it helps brokers, maybe, Mislav, you can just give us a bit of a bio on yourself and maybe weave in the story of SimplePin while you do that.
Sure. Yeah, I've been in fintech industry for too many years to really mention. Everything from startups to global international companies in an executive function. But most of my career has been spent in financial automation, so accounting, AR, ERPs, AP, workflow automations. And kind of that path led me to SimplePin because there's a lot of experience that we're now bringing into this insurance space and brokerage market.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. How old is SimplePin?
So we started life in 2017. Funny enough, we entered it because of our founder's payments background and then quickly realized where the pain is, which became the foundation of what today SimplePin is.
Great. So why don't you tell us what does SimplePin do?
Yeah, so the short answer is really SimplePin automates financial operations for insurance providers. As I mentioned, what we found the problem to be was not accepting payments. Insurance providers have been accepting payments for probably 100 years to buying policies and credit cards for probably the last 30 plus years. What we found is the real challenge is that workflow automation around the life cycle of that financial transaction. So, Tom, if you really think about it, after you receive payment, the policy is bound, but that's when finance teams start to work. They have to match that payment to a customer. A customer may not even exist, create that transaction or a policy, post the AR, reconcile when the funds hit the bank account, and then finalize the GL. So it's an extremely labor-intensive error process, which adds to cost because there's so many touch points. And one interesting note is that there isn't much difference in that process if you're handling online payments or physical checks. I mean, worst case scenario, e-transfers actually give you almost no information about the payer. And if my wife paid the insurance policy and I am listed as the account holder in your agency management system, it's really tricky, almost impossible to actually match and reconcile when that person doesn't exist. So that's the challenge that we tackle. We fully automated that complete journey of that financial transaction.
So do you cover both personal insurance and commercial insurance as well as potentially specialty? Like, is there any restriction on the kind of insurance that you guys support?
Yeah, every financial transaction we cover. So from buying to renew, everything has to be posted and reconciled. Our solution really revolves around receivables. So inbound transactions, quote to payment, agency bills, renewals. And we're also now working on direct bill commissions as they perfectly fit our existing flows. The way we look at it, be it that you get a payment from a customer, that it's paying a couple of different invoices or policies versus getting a payment from a carrier that's paying out commissions on many, many, many policies. That inbound process is very similar, and that's the focus of SimplePin.
So one of the interesting things about insurance is that there's lots of different tools going on, whether that's the broker management system or the company system, or some customer-facing tools. Does SimplePin integrate with some or any of those tools?
Absolutely. I mean, integration is key. You can't have an automated workflow without integrating two systems. So we go about it a number of different ways, depending on the system of records or the agency management system, and sometimes even volumes. So we have pre-built connectors to your major systems like Applied and Vertiforce to speed up and simplify implementations. I mean, today, nobody wants a project, so investing in pre-built connectors speeds up the process, reduces the implementation time and cost. but we also we support API, SDK, BD, which is kind of like hitting the database, and even file integrations. Some of our clients, with the volume of data that has to be extracted, loaded, and transformed, APIs and SDKs are not necessarily best to handle that volume or that speed. So automated file transfers work really well. And in accounting, aside from e-commerce transactions, accounting, the settlements happen on daily basis. So if you transfer large amount of data twice a day in an automated fashion, the results are the same because you want to post and finalize by the end of the day. So we have a breadth of ways to integrate with systems, and we try to standardize as much as we can because we understand nobody wants, 6 to 18-month project here.
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk about the benefits of SimplePin. So I'd like to ask about three different benefits. And rather than asking them separately, I kind of like to bundle them together because sometimes there's crossover benefits or they just multiple impacts. So really what it boils down to is, how does SimplePin improve efficiency and productivity? How does it improve the end client, the policyholder experience? And how does SimplePin effectively improve your client's sales and growth?
Quite a bit to chew on. Yeah, I'll do my best. Well, the first part around the efficiency and productivity, I mean, ultimately, that's what SimplePin was built for. Automation of that low value, tedious work. It's highly important because you want highly accurate numbers and reporting, but it is very, very tedious. I mean, there's a number of reports, Bank of America one pops into mind, that it costs upwards of $30 to handle, process, match, and post, finalize that payment. And unlike traditional businesses where you have inventories, logistics, all of these different processes for insurance, that financial transactions is the core business. Now, there's a significant volume of financial transactions, but that's their core business. And that is the key challenge that we address, optimizing that financial operations for insurance providers. Now, how does that impact? I think the next question was, how does that impact your client experience? For us, we actually have two clients. So the first is the users, the insurance staff. We actually refer to them as our clients. And I already kind of discussed the benefits around efficiency and cost saving, but it's actually significantly improving their satisfaction because you're eliminating that manual minutia of day to day. Like, they're focusing now on higher work rather than highlighting spreadsheets and keying it into the systems. And then we have folks that purchase, or companies that purchase insurance. To them we refer to as customers. So the users of our system are our clients. The end customer that comes in and purchases insurance, we refer to them as the customer. And this is an area we spend a lot of time refining and testing because, unlike the user experience, we don't get the opportunity to interact with a physical customer, right? They're interacting with our system. And with the digital transformation being obviously a huge buzzword in the space, most feel like offering some sort of a credit card or online payments or even a quoting website. That's digital transformation. And we are improving customer experience, and we got the check mark and move on to the next project. In reality, and I hate to use Amazon, but that's the only thing that pops to my mind when you're talking about that lifecycle automation, is they're successful because of the high adoption, high utilization, and that end-to-end automation, eliminating friction. So at SimplePin, we refine that user experience through trial and error. We also deploy tools to monitor drop-off. So when we see maximum utilization, that tells us that customer journey and experience is extremely intuitive and easy. We also deploy adoption strategy to help our clients reach out and make sure that the customers are available. Hey, you can easily now make payments for these bills. And we see about a 3 to 5% increase in adoption over what the client was doing previously. Because today, most of our clients, when they purchase SimplePin, they are already running some sort of a online payment process. So when they deploy SimplePin, we see an uptake of 3 to 5 times more customers utilizing the platform. And that's great because that removes friction, increases automation, ultimately improves the experience for both our clients because there's less work, right? It's automated, and customer experience simplifies to buy the insurance.
So let me dig into that for a second. So you mentioned that the customer, so the policyholder uptake is 3 to 5 times more than whatever they had previously. So as someone who's uses online tools on a regular basis, what is it? What do you think it is about SimplePin that is driving that kind of end customer adoption versus whatever they had previously?
A couple of major things. First thing we notice is how do you market to Tom that now you can pay online? We may not have Tom's email. Maybe he's still getting a piece of paper. Not likely, but there's that angle. Then ease of access. Our system is very easy and intuitive to you don't have to set up accounts, but it's highly secure. So the friction point at the entry points, the iframing within the websites or portal to give the branding and credibility. This is not a spam email. Like, again, using Amazon, I get a ton of, please pay your Amazon bill or something like that. So spamming. So a lot of those little friction points kind of fill up the cup, if you will. And then really making it really, really simple for customers to pay. We deploy Interact, we deploy online banking through Plaid experience to minimize drop off and making it that simple. If I ask you right now, do you know what your transit and account number is? It might take you half an hour to figure it out, but I'm sure you can, in 2 seconds, log into your online banking and make a payment. Little things like that.
That's great, Mislav. And can you talk about how the outcome of SimplePin is actually driving growth?
Well, for most organization, investment in financial operation is not something you look for top line improvement or growth. It's more bottom line upside, if you will. And if you think about it, the old rule, if you wanted to make 100 grand more in net profits, you got to bump up your sale by $1 million, sort of rule of thumb. It might be actually easier to optimize a key function like your financial transaction and post 100K more in EBITDA than $1 million in sales. And the reason I bring this up is I think it's very relevant in insurance space because from what I've seen, there is a real acquisition or roll-up strategy going on continuously within the space. And I would assume that agencies are valued on their EBITDA, increasing that EBITDA and multiplying it. So if I'm a large broker and acquiring, I would guess that they're probably trading at 10 to 15 times EBITDA. So all of a sudden that 100 grand becomes almost a $1.5 million increase in valuation. And if I'm purchasing agencies that are not optimizing their cash flow, I get a multiplier on that, right? And the reverse is true. If I'm a seller, that 100 grand, 5 to 7 times I'm guesstimating is the sale price. So for a small to mid-size agency, that's 5 to 700,000 more in pocket. So there's real tangible value there. What we are also seeing is that SimplePin does have impact on sales and sales growth. Like simplifying that binding process, offering breadth of different payment options like Interact, like online banking, making it simple, the ability to partially pay policies or invoices, enroll in installments, all of these different things impact sales by making it easy for your customer to buy, right? And one thing people don't think about is when it comes to renewals, that ability to automatically enroll in autopay, auto renew, right? Reduces friction, reduces drop off, reduces potential switches. So it's really hard to quantify what the impact on growth is, but we know that there is a positive outcome for our clients.
All right, let's get into some technical considerations here. So you are touching financial data, the end consumer's financial data here. So the first and most obvious question, probably the most important one, is how do you ensure the security and privacy of that information?
Well, it's a great question. Yes, we definitely touch payment data and customer data. So security is a big part of our value proposition. We utilize AWS, so it's not only security and compliance, it allows us for scalability as well. Our payment processor is PCI level 1 and SOC 2 compliant. Though we don't technically touch payment data, we also went through an attestation to make sure that we are PCI compliant as well. All the data, payment data, is tokenized, even banking information that doesn't necessarily require to be. And we are registered with FinTrack. We are RPAA certified with Bank of Canada. And of course, we have a slew of policies and procedures to make sure we adhere to compliance. And that's obviously regularly updated because there's always changes within the security and compliance.
So that's great. Let's take that as given. Let's talk about scale. So earlier you were talking about smaller brokers, the benefit to them, bigger brokers. Does the tool scale with size of brokerage? Is there, and sort of as a add-on question, is there any incremental benefit to a smaller or larger broker?
Yeah, I mean, we work with a wide range of organizations because in our world, volume equals pain, and obviously cost. So scalability is key. To your last question, is SimplePin valuable across? Probably not. There is very, very small brokers. If they handle only a couple of transactions per month, there's not volume, there's not pain. But pretty quickly, when you get to small to mid-sized brokers and above, volume equals complexity, pain, and obviously cost. So that would be our ideal market. We also touched upon that this space is very much in acquisition mode. So the ability to manage that significant, nearly instant, sometimes volume increase is expected, and it's really a core requirement for a lot of our larger customers, if you will. One of the things, it's not about just scaling the volume, like it's handling the complexity of growth, right? Growth is never a linear thing. It's not going from 1,000 transactions to 5,000. There's complexities when it comes to growth. So I'll give you a recent example. We had a merger of two quite sizable agencies. Funny enough, both of them were our customers. And of course, their volume doubled. And now you had to handle multi-company, multi-division, different type of settlement flows, and obviously multiple trust accounts. Deeper than that is all of a sudden there is only one instance of the agency management system. Data is ported into a single AMS system, but what do you do with the open receivables? How does the customer access that age receivable? How do you sync that old age receivable as the payments are made and updated into new instance? How do you provide visibility, reporting? Like, it can get really, really, really pretty messy. And that's why SimplePin is built enterprise grade, and we address these type of challenges and flows. And that example that I said, we had a client up and running once they poured it into a new instance within 2 weeks, rather than a 6-month custom project. So that's what we're built for complexity of growth as well as volume scalability.
So speaking of getting brokers going, there's a lot of great technology out there. And regardless of how good that technology is, that first step, the implementation step, going from not having a tool to having the tool working well, that's where a lot of these projects fall down. So can you talk about how you actually support the implementation of SimplePin within your client organizations?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in the early days, there was a bit of friction and falling down, to your point. The nice thing about accounting is that it's standardized and universal across the boards. You're dealing with debits and you're dealing with credits. So that allowed us to pre-build connectors for clients and getting them up and running quickly and having low impact on their resources. As I said, SimplePin is enterprise grade, so we have conditional logic. We're not building hard coding to support different flows that clients may require. As I mentioned before, maybe multi-company, different settlement accounts, profit centers. Those are all conditional logic, so it makes it fairly elegant from a deployment. And then once it's operational, it's self-running, right? We automate the life cycle of that financial transaction. So the training is more around accessing the dashboard, downloading reports, maybe setting up a new user or logo changes. For clients that want something unique, We are very selective on the type of work we do. It really has to fit our core solution vision and obviously our core competencies. So for example, if somebody asks us to build a payroll system or a quoting system or something along those lines, we don't have core competencies in those areas. It doesn't align with our core value. We cannot standardize that. It's not repeatable. So we would stay away from that. But anything that our clients bring up, for example, the direct bill commissions that we're talking about, we know it. It's our core competency. We can standardize it. We can reuse our connector or the integration and make it repeatable. That's what pushes our system forward and drives value to our end customers.
Okay, that's great, Mislav. So now we're coming to the $64,000 question here, pun intended. How much does it cost?
So SimplePin is probably one of the few systems that drives immediate value. As we just discussed, there is an implementation depending on the size and scope of the requirements, but the investment in our pre-built connectors not only allows us to deploy the system very, very quickly, also very cost effectively. And after that, it's volume based, or call it utilization based, which assures that our clients are getting value for every transaction. So it's almost nearly an immediate ROI for our clients after they deploy SimplePin.
Immediate ROI is music to most buyers' ears, I'm sure. Okay, so that's great. So now, Mislav, I'm going to get you to put your crystal ball out on the table here. Maybe fast forward 2 to 5 years down the road, and where do you see the future of payments? Like, where do you see this whole space going? 5 years down the road, what in your opinion, what does this look like in the Canadian broker channel?
What we're trending towards, or what we're trying to accomplish, is creating or becoming a network to remove friction between that financial transaction, be it that it's an end customer, be it that it's a corporation purchasing insurance, be it that it's broker or agents connecting with their carriers. To me, that's where we hope to go in the next 2 to 5 years, is become that centralized hub to eliminate friction and automate that life cycle of a financial transaction.
The world of insurance is changing because the world of tech is changing. Join us on the journey at ibactech.ca.